Hello everyone, my name is Faith Mutegi and this is my platform, Parenting Conundrums. So today's video or today's topic is, what are the losses that your children have encountered? And I'm not just looking at the aspect of physical death of a loved one. It's the disruption that happened in your children's lives or the children around you. So they were disrupted by the pandemic. That's a fact. The same way for us as adults, we are like, ooh, what happened? The events, the way we are doing work. Now, for the children, there was a disruption to their routines. And I believe every family, if they were to write a journal or an essay of how their lives were disrupted, especially when the school calendar year, at least people have mapped out your children are supposed to be in boarding school or having a school routine. All of a sudden the children are at home, which means the loaf of bread that could last a whole week was gone within a day. And other aspects of electricity bill and all that, the children stayed home. So aside from your routine being disrupted, even for the children, waking up to go to Sunday school, waking up to, and then in the evening, were there games, were there sport activities, the scouts and all that, life was disrupted even for the children. Now, friendships changed. Friendship in this way, they could have formed new relationships or new friendships. They could be moving. You are not seeing your friends for a long time, and children bond. So by the time they're they are contained in the house, because at the beginning everybody kept their children to themselves because of the concerns, which it's okay. That's how we coped at that moment. Nobody had ever seen this. So by the time your child is at home, if they are the only child, they don't have any other sibling, and maybe the area that you live in doesn't have as many children. All of a sudden, their friends change, or now they don't have their friends in school, so they had to form new friends at home or within the neighborhood. So friendships changed and are still changing, because they could have gone back to school and then found that either their friend has moved, their teacher has moved. So basically the context of friendships changed. Then some of them have not been able to catch up academically. There are those who most likely thrived with the technology, using the online platforms and the rest. But there are those who, once they have gone back to school, not even before they go back to school, when they were at home, everyone has a different learning style. So there are those who thrive when someone explains it to them, there's group work and all that. But when it comes to academics, depending on whether they had access to technology and the internet, yes, as you can see, I have whites here. They're somewhere there. Don't blame me with my tamshi, yes. So if you see your child struggling academically, it's because there's something it's like a word, like there was a stop gauge, there was a disruption, and how they had found a system of getting the concept changed, and the workload has also increased, because the academic system is trying, or the school system is trying to catch up with the backlog. Okay, then there are certain rites of passage that were missed. There is I remember let me use high school. High school, once you finished, there was this trip, or you would have what do you call it? Is it Liver's Bash or something of the sort? There are certain activities that, by the way, they may not have to be the circumcision and CG word, but there are certain activities that marked your life as a student, whether it's in primary, whether it is in high school. There are children who missed that. There are certain milestones that right now they will never. Let me use the example of abroad, where they were mentioning about prom. So they had to improvise. So there are certain ways that, I don't know whether they improvised, but they missed certain rites of passage. Then the little ones became the silent audience of adult conversations. You are there one-on-one. There is no social distancing in the houses. Yes, outside we socially distanced, but in the house they are right in your face, because you are their source of entertainment aside from the gadgets. So the conversations that you have, or what they could hear on TV or on radio, or whatever, whether you have if you bought the newspapers or not, but they started hearing adult conversations and how people are reacting to this pandemic. So most of the times you'd have these conversations away from the children because maybe they are away, they are playing, but you would keep them close because you don't know, or maybe so and so's child, so and so's the neighbor has COVID, so you don't want them playing with their child because you don't want. So you understand where the change of friendships happened. Then they had exposure to disturbing media content. There's a 4-year-old girl who was very scared of when we were able to the containment was eased, or she was very scared when her parents were leaving or anyone close to her was leaving, because if you remember the media stations, most of them had a background with and there was always that image of the virus, how it looked with all the, I don't know what they're called, I'll call them spikes, but the coronavirus at the back. So by the time you're having that in your face every single time and you're being told put on your mask, it is out there, wash your hands. So for a 4-year-old, because of magical thinking, they believe that out there's this big monster that looks like that, and they would get scared. So there was every single time you'd turn on the TV or flip through the channels, there was some disturbing content on that the children would see. Now fear crept in, because coughing became almost like a death sentence, because you yourself, if you coughed in front of people or even by yourself, you are very, very scared. You'll be like, that's it. Yes, you may have gotten it and thankfully survived, but at the beginning, when you were saying that one of the initial symptoms was coughing, everybody became very scared. So children became scared because their families are, maybe the parent, one or two, both parents are essential service workers, or they had this aspect of working far from, because of the containment, they could not move from home to home or parent to parent, or the parents coming to them, all those dynamics. So by the time they were having all this, they had the fear for their lives. And then that's why even there are some who intentionally would not hug. Like you as an adult, maybe you were there ready to hug the child, but for them, they're like, They became fearful, okay? Then all of a sudden, yes, they are out of school, which usually translates to be a holiday, but the holiday means staying away from shosho. So the dynamic of you are home, but you have to be away from those who can keep you entertained, those who you want to see, those who you love. The social support for the children also diminished. So why am I sharing this, even as I move to the last two, is the aspect of, if you try and look at a child right now, is there something that has changed? And then can you trace it back? Where can you trace it to? Most likely to be that period when they were home and things were very uncertain. Then you have heightened family stress and conflict due to joblessness or economic uncertainty. So by the time you are trying to cut costs, you're cutting costs on things that the children loved. It could be the snacks, it could be the events. You're not going to events anymore because of the health concerns. And then you're having this aspect of, you have lost your job, or one or both parents have lost their job. So things are just falling apart. They're not falling into place, they're falling apart. So there are some who had to move homes. There are some who had to move across counties to other areas, maybe live with the grandparents because of financial constraints. So there are those dynamics. And then remember, now it falls into the relationships and the loss of routine. And then there was a stigma still present, whereby if their family it was known that one of their family members had the virus, it became sort of the wrong thing. Like you're not wanted. Stigma. Let me just phrase it that way. So there is that aspect of stigma, which children don't take that. Children can be mean. Yes, they are angels, but they can also be mean. And how do I know they can be mean? Just listen to them, Chongwano. that game where they, I don't know how to say it in English, mchongwano, where they diss each other. So I want you to just look back at your child, whether they're in teens, whether they are they're adult, they're in high school, whether they are preteens. Something changed. Can you trace it back? When can you, like, when did you notice it? And then we can work on, now that's how you say, oh, by the way, it is also one of the reactions. Because even for us as adults, we have been scarred and we are exhibiting different manifestations of being in a traumatic and pressurized environment for that period, especially March 2020, until when things kind of settled. And I'm using the word kind of. So I wanted you to at least be on there to have a heads up. Your child is not being naughty. Everybody is reacting, and you need to find out, can you trace it back? And then from there realize, okay, we need to do something. And doing something is, you can get in touch with counseling, as I mentioned in one of the videos which I'll link up. Seeking help, mental health services is one of the bravest things you can do for yourself and also for your loved ones. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. But remember, you're not failing as a parent. You are a good parent, okay? And you're doing the best that you can. So I'll see you in the next video. Kindly don't forget to subscribe and share within your networks, okay? Thank you and see ya.